Hey everyone, welcome back for a new video about anxiety and panic attacks. First of all, I am not a dietitian, so anything that gets said in this video is just from personal experience. So we're going to talk about diets today and the effects that it has on our anxiety and also how it can affect us when it comes to panic attacks. What we tend to find is a lot of our foods today can be associated by what we eat and what we drink, and we can also increase these levels of anxiety and panic attacks based on, again, what we eat and what we drink. So some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to diets, because like I said, I'm not a dietitian and I don't have a meal plan set out for everyone, but what I can say is some of the things to be aware of. One of those being caffeine. One of the symptoms of a panic attack is, of course, the racing heart. And of course, as we get stressed, our blood pressure starts to rise, and then we start to have anxiety attacks, and then all of a sudden now we're having panic attacks. And things like caffeine in pop does not help. We also find that there's a lot of chemicals these days in processed meat. Don't get me wrong, some of it does taste very good, but it doesn't mean it's healthy for us. I'm a personal fan of when the fair comes to town, and I like to get myself some of them funnel cakes and corn dogs, but to be honest, all it is just it's all processed, and it's made cheaply as well with cheap products. I am gonna every now and then get myself a funnel cake, but one of the rules that I try to follow is when I'm at a supermarket or a superstore, and it's not going to be the same at every single one, but if you tend to shop on the outside of the store, you'll notice that most of it is natural meat and natural grown vegetables, and you don't seem to find the canned food on those if you shop around the outside of the store. So if you want to try changing some of your eating habits, you can probably go to one of your local supermarkets and shop from the outside versus going into those center aisles where you find all of your canned food. So that's a way to maybe start changing some of those bad habits that we have. And obviously, as mentioned before, we talked about the caffeine in the pop, or in the pop. Obviously, drinking water is probably one of the most healthiest things that we can do. And I understand it doesn't taste as good as pop, and it may not taste as good as some other types of drinks, but is it more healthier for us? Yes, it is. So just we need to probably start making sure that we're staying away from processed foods and caffeinated drinks as well. The other part of like I said, I'm not here to give you guys a diet or a meal plan. I'm just telling you guys about some of the things to stay away from, whether it's aspartame inside the drinks that we drink on a daily basis. You got your caffeine, you've got your processed meats with multiple chemicals in it. Just kind of maybe take a look at the back of what you're buying and start to see that some of those ingredients on the back of them can be a cause of a heightened level of anxiety and panic attacks. Kind of mentioned about caffeine, but when you start to induce some of those chemicals into your body, you're going to start simulating some of the symptoms that you would have with panic attacks and anxiety attacks. You know, you drink a full bottle of pop and you got all that caffeine in it. The first thing that's going to happen is your heart level or your heartbeat will start to get faster because you just gave it a shot of caffeine and the sugars. So now all of a sudden your heart's racing. And typically when you suffer from anxiety or panic disorders, when you start to simulate the racing heart, you start to wonder what caused it. And if you don't associate that with what you've eaten for the day, all of a sudden you start to question yourself and say, well, hang on, my heart was okay a minute ago, but now it's beating really fast. And am I having a heart attack? And you start to ask all these questions. You ask the why this, why that, and it's all because you just drank some pop. But all of a sudden that one pop is now turned into, hey, I think I'm having a heart attack. And obviously all the chemicals in the processed meats and the foods, you start to feel sluggish. And when you start to get all these different symptoms from what you're eating, it starts to sometimes replicate an anxiety or a panic attack. And when that happens, the next thing you know, you may possibly actually have a full-blown panic attack just because of what you've eaten for that day and drink. So just kind of, like I said, be aware. It's just, that's all this video is about, just kind of being aware of what's going on and what you're eating and what you're drinking. Just take a look at the back of that bottle or the back of that can of vegetables or meat, and just look at what kind of chemicals are in it, and you'll be probably shocked on how much there is in the back of those, or on the back. So, alright, thank you. Hey guys, first of all, I'd like to say congratulations in taking the first steps into overcoming your anxiety and your panic disorders. Second of all, I'd like to say thank you for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe. Down below in the description, you also will see links to our social sites and also the website. So take the time to visit those, and let's start kicking anxiety now.